Okay, so you have downloaded InDesign, you've installed it, and you have downloaded your template file. First thing I want you to go do is go to View, Screen Mode, change it to normal so that you can see all of your margins and all of these boxes that define the frames. Anytime you see text, there will often be stuff that you need to change to make it relevant for you. So in here, you're going to highlight that, and then you can type in your own name. Click on the select tool and select outside to get out of that. If you want to add anything else to here, you are more than welcome to. I'm just going to give you kind of the bare minimum before you get into making things fancier. So to get to the next page, I'm just going to scroll down with my mouse. If I want to zoom in, I can Control+. If I want to zoom out, I can Control-. So on this page, you'll notice there's this box with an X. This is a frame, and we can place an image into it. I'm hoping that you already have digital images of your artwork. If you do not, you will need to go back and take those pictures, take those scans, get things uploaded to your folder. If you have already done that, you should have a folder with your name on it, and it would live, let's see, so if I go to drive.google.com and then shared with me, you should, I won't have one in mine, but you should have a folder that has your name on it from Mr. O'Hara that includes your work already. And there might be gaps in there, but that's kind of a starting place. And yours will look, it should have your name on it, and then if you double click on it, you should see images of your work. So once you get that, you're going to right click, download. It's going to take a second to download, maybe many seconds to download, depending on how slow your computer is being. And they'll show up over here. If you show in folder, right click show in folder, you'll notice that in your downloads folder, there's this folder with a zip on it. You need to extract the files so that you can actually use them. So if you right click, extract all, it should also be going to your downloads folder and extract. It's going to take a second. And then you should see a second folder here without the zip on it. So if I double click on this, double click on that, here are my images. So now on the school computer, you'll notice that anything that is an HEIC file, so if I go to view details, anything that's an HEIC file will not show up correctly on the school computer, so you're going to need to convert it. There is an app to do that, and you can download it. So if you go to the Microsoft Store, and hopefully yours is a little bit faster than mine. My computer's struggling today. But if you do type in HEIC, and you're looking for this one with kind of that rainbow background, HEIC converter, click on that and hit get. It should be free. And it's taking a sec, it's downloading. Taking many seconds to download. Sorry, my patience has worn thin. Once that downloads, you can use this program to change your images to JPEGs. So it's thinking, it's getting there. It says it's all downloaded, but it's still only halfway there. Okay, so once it's completed, it'll say open. You can click on it. And it's really easy to do. All you're going to do is drag your images over. You can add a whole folder. So if I go to add folder, go to my downloads, I can add this whole folder in. And and hit select folder. And some of them, like, it can't do PDFs, that's fine. Just hit OK, OK. All of these HEICs, it's going to convert. One thing that's important is over here, look where it's outputting it. For the school computers, it has to output to your downloads or it won't work. So I'm going to go to downloads again. And I'm actually going to stick these maybe in this folder. Actually, I'm going to stick them right in the same folder. And hit select folder. And everything else here should be good. And I'm just going to hit convert. And once you do that, it might take a minute, but it'll change all those over to JPEGs. So now if I look in this folder, you'll notice that I have the HEIC file, but I also have a JPEG folder, a JPEG right after it. And that's the one that will work in InDesign and you'll be able to see on your computer. So a little extra step there for you guys. The HEIC file came around because I think Apple was trying to make a more, it's a more efficient file type. It allows you to have a better quality image in a smaller amount of space. So if you look, like the HEIC file is 3,000 kilobytes, whereas the JPEG is 5,000, 6,000 kilobytes. So it saves space, but not all computers can read them yet. Okay. So once you've done that, you should be ready to place images in. So I'm going to go back to extra large icons. I'm going to close this. I don't need it anymore. Close that. Okay. So I'm going back to InDesign, and I'm going to click on my Windows Explorer file. I can change the size of this box so that I don't look at a little bit of time. And all I do is I just drag that image right to here, and it'll automatically place in that frame. If I decide I want this frame to be bigger, let's say I want to take up more of my page, I can change the frame size by clicking on it and then just dragging that corner. And if I wanted to fill the whole thing, I'm going to right click, go to fitting, and hit fill frame proportionally, and it'll fill the whole frame. If I want to make sure that I'm not clipping my drawing at all, if I right click and go to fitting, fill content proportionally, it'll make sure and this one is basically the same. But let's say I had a really skinny box, I could do fitting, fit content proportionally, and it'll just make sure that my smallest dimension is that my whole thing is visible, even if there's a small dimension here. The other thing I can do is, if let's say I just want to look like free form, kind of look at this. If I hold down Control and Shift and then drag a corner, I can resize that way as well. So that'll scale the whole thing. On some of the computers, that's reversed. So when you do this, it's going to scale it. And when you hold down Shift and Control and do it, it's going to change the frame. So just experiment. It's either a direct click or it is you hold down Shift and Control and drag the side. Between those two, it should change the frame or it should change the image. So put this back, fitting, fill frame proportionally. Okay. So on this page, this has room for one image. It has room for your personal statement, your artist statement, and this can be an image of you that you pick. These two statements, the descriptions of them are taken straight from the Scholastic Portfolio Award website. So to submit to that, you need to have a personal statement and you need to have an artist statement. You can draft these in Word. You can take these off of a call draft you've already written, whatever you want to do, and you can copy and paste them into here. So you would also put in another image, that one. And right now I'm putting in random images because I don't have all the images you might want for this. So that one maybe was the HEIC file. Okay, so this is the ones that say CONV at the end of the converted files. So those I can bring in. And this one again, I want to fill up the frame, so I'm going to right click, fitting, fill frame proportionally. Okay, this first one is for parking day. Now you might have your personal parking day image in your folder, or you might need to go take a picture of it. It might be in the classroom, but you'll notice there's space for images, for a lot of images, and some of those should be of the final group project we did. So to get those images, you're going to go back to Google Classroom. And you'll notice that in the portfolio folder, there's a number of links here that will bring you to other bring you to other photos. So if I go to parking day group photos and click on that, I can then look for an image that I want to bring in. So maybe I think that like this overall image would be really good for my portfolio. So I'm going to right click, I'm going to download it, show in folder. And so this is an HEIC, so I need to convert it. So I would convert it using that program that I showed you guys earlier. I have a different one on my computer to use just to be able to do it very quickly. And then I would go ahead and drag that image into here and it'll fill up, it should fill in there. And I'm going to right click, fitting, fill frame proportionally. Let's have it fill the whole thing. When you are doing your description of parking day, I would put in a description of the project you designed. So this is thinking about that first sketch we did with the elevation and the plan. What was the project prompt? How did you respond to it? What was your big idea? Why did you design what you designed? What do you like about your design? What was successful about it? And then I would also write a little bit about the group project. And as a group, how did we work together? What did you decide to work on? Did you work on the string? Did you work on building the benches? Did you work on the cart? How did the build go? How was collaborating going, right? So those are all things that you can put into your blurb. It doesn't need to be a lot of text. It can just be a few sentences. But remember that anyone who's looking at this portfolio knows nothing about any of your projects. They know nothing about BDS. They know nothing about what you're studying. So this is just a couple of sentences to get them oriented about the project quickly and to understand what the big ideas are and what you were working on through it. You'll also notice that as the title, you can change the title if you have a more specific title. It has general date. Individual project will say individual project, group project should say group project. These are the materials. So paper and pencil, 2x4 string paint. The design, the original design, I think we're on a 12x18 sheet of paper, but correct me if I'm wrong on that. You can fix those dimensions. And the project fit in a parking space. It was about 9x18 by about 7 high. So those dimensions are on there just to help people understand when they're looking at these images, how big are the things that they're looking at. Going down, we also have room for storm drain design. Same thing on storm drain. I would put your individual image here. And then if you go back to Google Classroom, we also shared one for storm drain photos. So you could download one of these photos and put it in there. Or multiple of them if you want to show the process. So maybe it's important to show the gridding, the outline, and then the final for yours. I have way too many images in my downloads. That's what's happening right now. Okay, so I would go ahead and I could drag that in here. And if I want to fill up the whole thing, I can right click, fitting, fill frame proportionally, and that'll fill that up. And then maybe over here, I'd have my actual storm drain drawings. Let's see if there's one in here. So if I drag, the PDF should be able to go in. So if I just drag that right in, and it looks like that's before it had the design on it. So ideally you would put the one with the design in there, but you could show your design here and talk about it. And then you could talk about the group project as well. Water retention design, these are your collages. I don't think we've taken pictures of those yet. So those you'll need to document. Design builds collaboration. These also, we have images online. So if you go to Google Classroom, and then we have model images, session photos, and presentation photos. So let's say I want to put in some of the model images. I could come over here and maybe I worked on the wisdom tree, so I could download this. And I could drag that into here. Okay, so let's say this is just not quite looking how I wanted to look. If I click on this, you'll see that brown box appears. I can use that to kind of change the size of this and to move it around within the frame. And then click on my direct selection and select outside to change that. I would put in here, you can put in your sketches, you could put in here any of those sticky note things, you can put a picture of yourself presenting. So remember that we have lots and lots of images from these projects that show all that work you did. Just show what best explains your ideas and will allow you to show the range of your skills. So maybe you want one that has the picture of the site model, so you can explain that you looked at construction drawings and built a site model, that you're working to scale, that these are a 1/8 inch scale, right? So you always in your portfolio want to highlight what the skills you have are and how the work that you're showing shows off those skills. Okay, so what else do we have in here? After school hub, so this should be work from your junior year. If you don't have it, you can delete the spread. So over here, pages, you can right click and hit delete spread and hit OK. Oops, I deleted the wrong one, I think. So let's see, what page is this? This is page 8. Okay, so let's say I don't have my After School Hub 10, 11. I can hit shift to select both of those, right click and hit delete spread and hit OK. And that'll just get rid of them. Here's room for your 3D puzzle, for your artifact, for all sketchbook images. Let's say you don't have a 3D puzzle, but you have something from 9th grade, like your locker caddy that you have pictures of that you really love, or you did a paint at home you want to include. You can always change the information here. You can always change the title, year, change this individual project, change the materials, change the size, and write a description and place in the photos there. This template's meant as a jumping off point because it's hard to start with something that's totally blank, and it's meant to help you keep things mostly aligned. This grid's really important because it helps keep our spacing the same. It helps give some uniformity to the pages. But again, delete what you don't want, change titles, sizes, etc. as you need for other things. So let's say, I'm not going to do this very carefully right now, but let's say I just go through and I'm going to place in all my images. So one thing that's annoying about this is in my computer, I really need to do it from detail view so I can tell where the JPEGs are. So I'm just going to go through and place all these images. It looks like some of them maybe didn't convert yet, so I need to go back and convert those. Okay, so let's say I go through, I put all these images in, and I want to preview it. I can go back to View, Display Performance, or sorry, Screen Mode, Preview, and that'll show me what those pages actually look like. So that's all. Oh, and finally over here, you're putting in your name again. And if you have a social media handle or a website or anything, or you can put in your email for people to get in contact with you when they see the portfolio. So and you can also change this logo if you have a personal logo that you want to put in. For now, we're just going to save, and we're going to work on the same computer. We're going to talk about how to export this and get it ready for printing at a later time. For now, I want you guys to work on finding all your images, documenting the work you don't have, and working on all this writing, on all these blurbs, on your personal statement, on your artist statement.